You're listening to WSJB.
And it's just a thrill to play for you with your college summer jazz program. We're just going to make some music.
Interesting and entertaining.
You could see something entertaining, just walk away from it and never think of it again. But it was just like entertaining in that moment. Something that's interesting kind of stays with you and it has more meaning.
Okay, I like where this is going. It really embeds itself onto you. But some musicians talk about the inner ear. Not only these, it's something in here. It's something bigger than emotion. It's something bigger than the feeling. It's all the above. It's just you. It's your brain. It's your heart, and I like what you just said. It's you. It's just you. All you have is you. Some people said what I didn't want them to say in their papers, that learning improv is learning a bunch of scales. And I'm trying to get that off your brain. Yes, you need to know scales, but it's not just that. You need to know sound. So what I've done is I've taken all 15 blues scales. I know this is kind of like over information. But if you look at this, you are staring at 15 blues scales, just their note names. What I'm hoping is over time, you let these scales slowly go into your brain. And the fastest and best way to do that is with memorizing the sound or internalizing the sound. Give me that. 1 and 2 and 3 and go. I'm going to just do this call and response thing. And after a while, you should stop looking at the page, right? Yeah. You should, so if I play this, what's that? Play it. You guys are sounding great. You guys are sounding great. You've done a lot this week. You've done a lot this week, just these 2 days. All I ask is you get some rest tonight. I've given you no homework except to think. Right? Video games. Look over those chapters. Let me hear from you that you've done the thinking. And this goes for the whole band. This goes for the whole band. Tomorrow I'm deciding whether to give a final or not. One team is going to get together, another team is going to get together. One team is going to prepare Jazz 1 for 10 minutes, while the other team 2 is going to prepare Jazz 2 for a minute. And then you're going to talk for each other, organize the presentation, and present that chapter 2.
There's musicians that they don't think when they're playing is satisfactory to them and other players. So I remember, because unconscious playing is a real thing, because I remember watching a video by Anthony Wellington, how there's 4 ways of knowing of unconscious players. How one level is just unconscious without knowing like theory and stuff like that, you're just playing notes. Then there's another one where it's unconscious but knowing what you're doing. And there's a third level where most professionals are, and it's just conscious and knowing, where you could just improv without knowing what you're doing. And then there's like these people like Victor Wooten, Jackal, how they're in level 4 where it's just unconscious and knowing, where they could just play without causing no stress, nothing. And that's what the level where people are trying to get. And it's hard for them to practice without like probably confidence or stuff like that, where they need to know how much practice they need to do or how little practice they need to do to be at the level they want to be in.
And in the book, they say that there's 3 stages in learning how to improvise. And the first one is to choose a master or a teacher, and the second one is to learn from that, and the third one is to move on from that and like improvise and make it your own. But nowadays in jazz, because of the fact that there's so many like brilliant jazz musicians, and that's a good thing, but at the same time, like you have to move away from the influence, because how else is art gonna grow? Like if there's none of your own, if there's no individuality, how is it gonna grow?
Qualities of like other players become part of you. Because like if you hear someone play like a certain like lick or something and you want to copy it, you don't really want to copy it, but like if they play like a certain style, you want to try, not really copying, but you want to like incorporate, incorporate like a little bit of you, like mix it around. So and eventually you could like improvise enough so like you get your own style and it becomes you.
There is a unlikely sounding but probably true story about Lester Young. One of his admirers, a tenor player whose style of playing was based exclusively on Lester's, made the pilgrimage to listen to his idol. Young, a musician of beautiful unpredictability, very rare in jazz, produced a quite uncharacteristic performance. The disciple, enraged, shouted to him, "You ain't you, I'm you!" Don't worry, you don't have to get it. They have to get it. Who's gonna answer this?
He played a certain way with Count Basie's band forever, and then he went on with a solo career and became something else. And he was known from that style, and you're copying that style, and he's doing something else. Everyone has an idea that that's who Lester was with Count Basie, but that's not who he is anymore. And so you're like Lester with Count Basie. You're like Lester from the past with Count Basie, and you're not Lester like who he is when he's playing with Oscar Peterson Trio or anybody else. He had put everything into Lester's style and Lester's ideas and didn't grow out of them.
The teacher didn't really teach him improvisation because he didn't know like how to do it, so therefore he wasn't gonna try to teach Will something he didn't know how to do. But I'm gonna use myself. I was like taught how to play classical saxophone for 4 years of my life because my teacher didn't know how to improvise also. But then it comes to like a point where you as a musician have to decide that you feel the need to improvise. So what I'm really trying to say is your teacher is someone who structures you, but you're more like them at first, and as you grow as a musician, you have to find that in yourself to want to know how to do something outside of what your teacher is teaching you. So in our chapter, it talks about feeling the need to improvise. So right now, I'm feeling the need to improvise even though my teacher didn't teach me.
If you have your own style, you should bring that out. You shouldn't just always go for the theory and always go for what you think is best, because it might be dead. And if you're just yourself and your emotion can go into your playing, then other people will feel it and it will be alive.
Congratulations, there is no final. New bass guy! What happens on the bus? I'll see you at University of the Streets. Have a good ride, everybody. We're good to go.